came out of the army and taken over the billiard hall, which was their first venture into business.
When the twins took over the Regal, it was a big place. It wasn't a small place, you know, it was a big place. Laid at the back of Mile End Station, Eric Street, by the car site on the front.
They congregated there with people they met in the army, Dick and Morgan and various other people, people of like kind.
Invariably, you got a lot of the fly-by-nights in there, you know, they always got a pair of shoes or a shirt they're selling or something like that.
It was more like a labour exchange for thieves, really. You went in there and see if anything was on offer and that sort of thing.
They had people that sort of worked for them and running about for them and doing their bidding, but not villainy. I'm not talking about none of that villainy game, because they would, if they had the needle with someone, they would never ask somebody else to go and do it. They would go and do it themselves.
Each area of London had its own organised crime group, if you like. It was neighbourhood based. They made their money from thieving, from stealing, and also from various kinds of extortion. The big area to plunder immediately after the war was the West End of London. And the main players there, you had Jack Spot Comer and you had Billy Hill. Both men of violence, and they clashed. It was a clash over territory, it was a clash over personalities. And as far as the relationship with the Krays were concerned, the Krays were really seen as likely lads who were coming through. These were highly marketable young men who proved themselves as local men of violence in the East End of London and were being spotted by these elder statesmen of crime as being possible cohorts.
They were in fact spot men, really. Originally, the story is that they were hired by Spot to defend him at the spring meeting at Epsom in, I think 1955.
I can remember Ronnie saying, we're going to the races. I said, what do you know about the races, Ronnie? He said, well, not a lot. He said, but we could soon learn, and we're going with Jack Spot. And he loved the idea.
He was a funny man. He used to sort of hold court in the Cumberland Hotel at Marble Arch, sort of very much like sort of one of the old-time mafiosi with a sort of fedora hat on and a smart suit and having his boots polished. The Spot was on the decline. The men he'd had defected to Hill, where the pickings were an awful lot better, and he eventually quarrels with a man called Albert Dimes, who was the Hill number 2, and they had a celebrated fight in Frith Street where they cut each other to ribbons.
I've gone round one day, and there's Jack Spot, you know, this man who Ronnie was in awe of, sitting in their kitchen with, Lord knows, cuts on his face like nothing, you know. Oh, he looked up at me, and I was sitting down, and he said, I'll be back, son, I'll be back. And I thought, you won't be coming back anywhere, you're finished, mate. You know, your days of being #1 gangster are over.
Spot fell right out of the picture. What there was left of it.
And you, as young men, aligned yourself with Billy Hill.
He's a very good person. I liked him a lot.
So were you his protege?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Well, Reggie might say that Billy Hill was his role model because he was smarter, he was, in his opinion, cleverer than Spot, and he was also, in Reggie's opinion, more like Reggie than Ronnie.
When we was done racing, he called us to his flat in Bayswater, and he turned around and said, if you're done racing, I'll give you my pitch to go to, which we was very pleased about. He said William Hill was his name, correct name, and it was also the correct name of winning all the bookmakers. He had a court case with the particular bookmakers, because they said he was promoting money on their name, which he wasn't. He won the case, and he beat him. And we was very proud to have it always our first pitch down the races, Derby Day.
Billy Hill was a great example to them, because Billy Hill was one of the few people actually, having spent 17 years in the nick, he did finally make a bit of money out of crime.
Billy Hill was a user. Simple and straightforward as that.
They was being used to use violence on other people for a pittance. And they wasn't satisfied with having a pittance. They said, well, we'll have the lot.
There was a big meeting held in Clerkenwell where it was decided what certain people would get, what Jack Spot was getting previous. After that, particular meeting, the twins was the governor of everything.